Hello and welcome to Planet Nutrition. My name is Luke, I'm a nutritionist, and today we're talking all about gut health and the science of improving our gut health with nutrition. So maintaining a healthy gut is essential for our overall health. Not only is our gut responsible for our digestion and absorption of food, it also houses up to 70% of our immune system, so has a really important role in our immune health. But our gut also contains our microbiome, which is this home of trillions of bacteria that impact all aspects of our health. Our cardiovascular health, our metabolic health, our risk of certain cancers, our brain health, and even our mental health and our levels of anxiety and depression. And in recent years, science has revealed not only this incredible world of gut health, but the powerful impact that nutrition can have on the health of our gut and thereby affecting the health of our entire bodies. So let's get started with what is gut health? What does this even mean? So gut health refers to, obviously, the health of our gut, the balance and functionality of our digestive system, encompassing effective digestion and absorption of nutrients, as well as having a stable and diverse gut microbiome. So these bacteria and different organisms that live there in our large colon. So that's the last part of our digestive system. So let's get into a couple of incredible facts about our gut, because these are absolutely mind-blowing. When I learned about gut health, I was so blown away. So did you know your gut is home to trillions of microorganisms? In our human body, the whole body, everything together, we maybe have about 30 trillion human cells. That's a huge number. But in our gut microbiome, we have between 40 to 100 trillion bacteria. So we have significantly more bacterial cells in our body than we have human cells, leaving the question, are we really even human? We also have an incredible diversity of microbes in our gut. There's more microbes in our gut as well than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. These include bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms, each playing a unique role in our health. And another incredible fact is that our microbiome is a genetic powerhouse. The collective genome or genetic code of all of these microbes in our gut contains up to 150 times more different genetic information than our own human genome, vastly expanding the genetic capabilities of our body and in terms of being able to process different foods, produce different compounds that can affect our health, which we'll get into in a little bit. So, how does nutrition affect our gut health? The food that we eat profoundly affects the composition and activity of our gut microbiome, which in turn influences our health. And here are some key ways in which this happens. First one being dietary fiber. So have you heard about fiber? I mean, many of us might think, oh, it's something that our grandparents took to help keep them regular. But actually, dietary fiber is essential for gut health. It is fermented and digested by these bacteria in our gut because our bodies can't digest it ourselves. So it passes all the way through our digestion and our bacteria use it as food. They produce compounds like short-chain fatty acids, which are really beneficial for the health of our colon and digestive system. They help to do things like reducing inflammation, improving our digestion and gut motility, but they also cross into our bloodstream where they can be circulated in our body, not just reducing inflammation in our gut, but in our whole body as a whole, and they may even play important roles in mental health. And fiber is the undigestible parts of plants. So when we eat whole plant foods like fruits and vegetables, whole grains, that's where we're getting it from, because all different types of fruits and veggies have different fiber, such as ones like inulin, galacto-oligosaccharides, beta-glucans, which are found in certain mushrooms and oats. And research shows promote beneficial bacteria while also reducing the growth of harmful bacteria. So as much as we can have probiotics or beneficial bacteria, we can also have dysbiosis, which is the growth of harmful bacteria in our gut. And there's research specifically looking at this. For example, feeding people the prebiotic fiber inulin helped to increase the levels of beneficial bifidobacterium species in people's guts. And then coming further into this, number 2 is whole grains specifically. So a lot of us, we might eat things like white bread, pastries, donuts, all of these kind of things made from refined wheat. And you might hear online people saying, yeah, like grains, they're not really the best for us. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. It's not just grains, but it's what we do to them. When we process them into white flour, we remove a lot of the beneficial nutrients and the fiber that we've just talked about that we need for gut health. When we're eating whole grains like whole oats or whole wheat, for example, it's got this fiber that's really beneficial for our gut. And whole grains like rye and wheat and oats have been shown to be really beneficial for our gut health. A study looking at this specifically found that regular consumption of wheat and rye increased butyrate concentrations in people's feces. So that's measuring what's coming out. Butyrate is a short chain fatty acid like what we were talking about earlier. And they also found that this helped to reduce bloating and constipation in the participants. And this was compared to refined wheat as well. So making that switch can be really beneficial. These effects highlight the importance of including whole grains, but there can also be people who might have sensitivities. So you might have heard of the FODMAP diet, and that is fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. And these are types of fiber that certain people might be sensitive to, and wheat contains a group of these called fructans. So if you find that you don't digest wheat well, it could be worth working with a nutritionist or a dietitian to help you with that. You might also find that if you struggle with wheat, maybe you might be able to handle something like a sourdough because they're fermented, which reduces some of these things that can make it a bit more difficult on our digestion. So that's something else that I recommend my clients to try as well. Tip number 3 is the power of a plant-based diet. So we talked about the importance of fiber. Fiber is the king when it comes to gut health. Where do we get fiber from? Did I hear you say it? Whole plant foods. So eating a plant-based diet, a diet that's focused around whole plant foods, is incredibly beneficial for our gut health because we're getting all of that fiber that we need. And we're also getting heaps of other nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and also compounds like polyphenols, which are compounds that come from plants. They have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects in our body, but they also act as prebiotics to feed the beneficial bacteria in our gut. And it doesn't mean going vegan if you don't want to. Even diets like the Mediterranean diet that include a lot of plants but also some animal products, they help to promote a diverse and stable gut microbiome that's associated with all of these beneficial health effects that we've talked about. A plant-based diet in general helps with the growth of beneficial bacteria and helps to reduce the growth of harmful bacteria in our gut. And so I wanted to get into some common questions that I get from my clients about gut health, because this is something that I'm passionate about and love talking about a lot, but there's also confusion and some questions out there as well. So what are the key foods to eat to improve gut health? So we've talked about this a bit, but high fiber foods, so fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes like beans, chickpeas, lentils, and whole grains are really good. So just thinking about something that is more close to what we would find in nature, that's generally going to be higher in fiber, less processed, and more beneficial for our gut health. Number 2 is fermented foods. So you might have heard of probiotics that we might take as a capsule, and these contain beneficial bacteria, but a really good way to get these in is having fermented foods, because as we talked a little bit about as well, we want a diverse, healthy microbiome. And when we're taking probiotics in a capsule, they often only have a couple different strains of bacteria. But if we're having fermented foods, they're using wild strains of different probiotics that are found naturally on the food, and they're really beneficial for our gut. They contain probiotics and also prebiotics. So things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, tempeh, these are all great sources. Kombucha as well, but make sure that you're getting ones that are probably in the chilled section of the supermarket, because if they're not chilled, they're probably pasteurized, which kills the beneficial bacteria. They're still good for us because they might have some other beneficial compounds, but those probiotics won't be there. So generally you want to get unpasteurized, live, probiotic fermented foods. You can also focus on prebiotic rich foods. So fiber is a prebiotic, it's things that feed our beneficial bacteria, but there's foods that contain special prebiotics like the one we talked about earlier, inulin, and there's a few other ones, but these are really good for kind of setting that groundwork of building our healthy gut. So things like garlic, onion, bananas, and asparagus contain good prebiotics. But again, if you do find you're sensitive to any of these foods, it could be something like intolerance. So it can be good to start with a small amount if you're not used to having them in your diet and build that up over time, and also potentially working with a nutritionist or a dietitian to help you with that as well. And can supplements help our gut health as well? Can we supplement our way to a healthy gut? Well, we probably can't supplement our whole way, but supplements can definitely have their place. You might like to look into getting like a prebiotic supplement, so that's specific prebiotic fibers to help when you're starting out building a healthy gut if you haven't necessarily been eating super healthy for your gut, eating probably what a lot of people do, a modern standard processed diet. Supplements like glutamine can be helpful to help improve our gut function and our gut barrier function as well. And certain herbal supplements can be helpful, and things like aloe vera that are also full of fiber and kind of gel-ish substances that can be quite soothing for our gut. But I generally try focusing on like dietary interventions first before working on supplementation. So putting it all together for the key takeaways for gut health. Number one is to increase our fiber intake. So consuming a diverse range of different fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, from whole plant foods. Number two is eating fermented foods. So getting in those natural probiotics, things like yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, tempeh. These are all good options for increasing our fermented food intake. Number three, adopting a more plant-based diet. Again, this doesn't need to be necessarily a vegan diet, but just including more whole plant foods. Even something like a Mediterranean diet can be really helpful, but just essentially focusing on more whole plant foods. Five is to stay hydrated. So we didn't touch on this too much in this video, but hydration and water is really important for our gut health. It's gonna also help keep things regular, keep things moving, because we don't want our food to be sitting in our gut for too long as well, because then it can ferment and lead to bloating and gas. And that also helps to support the mucus lining of our gut and support the balance of good healthy probiotics in our microbiome. Number five is also just be mindful of our processed food consumption. So processed foods are associated with poor gut health. They're associated with increased levels of these pathogenic or harmful bacteria in our gut. And we don't want that. Like, it's fine to have processed foods sometimes, enjoy your life, have fun. But if gut health is our goal, again, we are wanting most of our food to be coming from healthy whole foods. You can think of like the 80-20 rule. This is always a pretty good rule for most things in life. Most of the time focusing on healthy diet, 20% of the time enjoy yourself, do whatever you want. It's the things that you do most of the time that's going to impact your health in the long term, not what you do sometimes. And number six is regular exercise. So moving your body regularly is important for our gut health. It's important for every aspect of our health. We're talking about gut health here, but helps to keep things moving, the movement from moving our body, but it also helps to promote the growth of healthy, beneficial bacteria as well. And so to put it all together, nutrition plays a vital role in our gut health, and our gut health plays a vital role in all aspects of our health. A diet that's rich in beneficial fibers from whole plant foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, and including things like fermented foods, can significantly improve our gut health. And understanding this can allow us to make empowered choices for our gut health that's going to improve our health in the long run. But it's also different for everyone, and we might have different sensitivities to different foods. And if it's something that you do need more help with, I do highly recommend working with an expert that can help you with that. And you can look into things potentially like the FODMAP diet. But again, when you're doing it by yourself, it's hard to know everything because it is a very complex topic. So having the guidance of an expert is really helpful here. If you do need specific support with your gut health as well, This is the work I do with my clients, and you can get a free 30-minute health consultation at the link in the description. I'd love to support you if that's something you need help with. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, feel free to leave a like. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, and feel free as well to subscribe for more from me. See you in the next video, and until then, stay healthy, my friends.